Yeah, I had the same exact problem with Raiders, and I think it was with two-hand rifles. I don't remember seeing any for like pistols. I believe it was assault rifles or Chinese assault rifles. Um, See, what I did was I had installed the RH iron sights. When I first modded the game, one of the first things I wanted to do was give weapons iron sights. So that was one of the very first things, that's one of the very first mods I put in. And then later on, I added other mods, like Reanimated. I'd kind of go through the Nexus and I'd say, oh, wow, I like this, or this looks like this really be interesting, or I want to try this. So I would add it. And for some reason, and then but a lot of times when I'm modding, I'll just randomly add stuff, and it overwrites existing files because a lot of the mods are loose files, and they don't overwrite every single file. So, and I think there were different animations. I think I installed like FWE and Eve, and then like the bridges for those. And then all of a sudden, I noticed that and I did the same thing. I think my character did the exact same thing, especially if I was in third person. First person, I never noticed. But third person, I did. And the Raiders, which I believe, like I said, had two-hand assault rifles, they always were pointing at the ground when they shot out. So what I did was I went in to take a look at the reanimated. I thought, okay, this looks like an animation issue, which are the .kf files. It looks definitely like an animation issue. So I'm assuming I've looked at things very roughly. So you have a skeleton which has attach points, and that defines, I think, movement. And then you have a mesh, which is a 3D form, which bends around the movement. And then, it'll bend the polygons around the movement, stretch them in a sense. And then you have a texture that's mapped on top of that. So I think that's kind of like how that works. I'm not sure why the animations broke like that, unless somehow there's multiple animations. I'm not sure. But what I did was I went in here and I did a check on the reanimated, and I noticed that some of these files had been overwritten. And if you take a look, you can actually see over here where this, it would have, like, for example, if one of these files were being overwritten from the particular mod I checked, then it would be red. So here you can see that RH Iron Sights is the one that I overwrote. And I think what I did was, I believe I reinstalled this for some reason. Like, a lot of times I will install a mod and I'm thinking, oh man, it overwrote something I needed, so let me just double check, or I'm testing this particular program out with different stuff. So there's like many different kind of test things going on. But that happened to be it. So once I reinstalled this, but more importantly, what I did was, it was a patch. You can see up here, it's the patch. So there was a patch for this, which I believe patched, reanimated, and RH iron sights. Now, I don't know if that just gave the iron sights, or, in other words, put the iron sights on the actual gun in first person. I'm not really sure. I've never looked at like an animation file to see if it's grouped maybe by first person, third person, or grouped by a tag, which the tag defines in the game. It would say, okay, first person has a tag, you know, X1, P1, and then, third person would be, 3RD or something. I've never looked at it to see how the data is actually encapsulated and how the data is selected. But that's what happened to me, so I hope that helps. The Raiders do not do that now. What I could possibly do to test it is I could maybe overwrite one of these files later on when I have more time. Overwrite like one of the two-handed animations and see if it janks back out. And if it does, then that would be a solid yes. But that's what I did to fix it. I can't really. It would probably take a little bit too much to sift through it, but here you can see. If we look at the, let me see where I've got it. If we look at the manifest, we can, or not the manifest, over here. Yeah, I'm sorry, over here. Let me refresh this real quick, and then I'll show you. So if we overlay the manifest, which is the installs, it's the manifest is everything that's installed into the game. You can see that these gray areas are where I actually installed mods. These are the actual play sessions I had, especially when I'm testing things out. So that's the play sessions, and then the gray ones here, these are the ones where I actually installed, and then you can see where I have crashes. I'm getting a lot of I've installed so much stuff and taken so much stuff out, I'm getting a lot of crashes that are related to buffer overruns for some reason, and then it turns right around and crashes. So I'm not really sure what this is. I'm assuming it hits an error and then somehow INVAC or something is getting caught in some kind of recursive loop. I'm not really sure what, and maybe that's what's doing this. If I look at the crash logs for the game, just as an example, you can actually see that the majority of the crashes I've had are this 5, which is like it's like the program tried to address memory it's not allowed to address. The next one I had is buffer overruns. So these are the 2 primary things I've had. I'm not sure on the addresses. Let me see here. Okay, so it looks like the biggest address hit I have is whatever this address is here. I believe this is in Fallout 3. So it looks like I had a couple null references. That's address 0, so there's the null reference hit. But the majority of them are hitting whatever this address is in Fallout 3. This seems to be a hole. This seems to be like a hole somewhere in the program where either data or something is going bad. But not really sure, just kind of collecting it for now. Hope that helps, and maybe I can get an example of where it does it when I have some more time. I probably won't have enough time until maybe next week. So yeah, man, give it a shot. Check your. I don't know how to check your animations. I'm assuming if you're using Mod Organizer 2, it'll tell you which mods are conflicting, because I do believe it just simply extracts the file names, which is the same thing I do from the BA2s, the archive files, and then just says, okay, this is the order of this is your load order. I'm going to extract them in this order. If one already exists in, let's say, a dictionary, it's a conflict. And then whatever the last conflict in the list, or if it is a loose file, it'll win. And then and if it's a loose file, you'll have to delete it or extract. I would delete it. Like if you need something from a BA2, I would probably delete a loose file. But that's how you'll have to check and see if that's the problem. All right. So good luck with it, man. Hopefully you can get it figured out and get your game running good.